not getting out of here alive. But neither's that thing.
Every dirty job that comes along.
You're a cookie full of arsenic.
When you have to shoot, don't talk.
Now I call that showmanship, Lieutenant.
Are we not men?
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Hello, this is the Old Man and the Girl movie podcast. I'm the girl.
I'm the old man.
And this is, our first podcast episode. It is, do you want me to say the date?
Say the date.
All right. It is June 15th, 2025. It's Father's Day. And what this podcast is it's me and my dad. And we have always been big movie fans. And so we're going to talk about some of the movies we like. And usually they're going to be older. But, we thought it'd be interesting because we've got the father-daughter perspective.
You get an older person and a younger person.
Yeah, and I'm a Zoomer, he's a Gen Xer, so I think there's an interesting dynamic there. And
So what did we watch?
We watched Hangover Square from 1945, directed by John Brum.
Put out by Fox Studios. Also has George Sanders, Linda Darnell, who were all, along with Laird Craigar as the lead, they were all in The Lodger together in the prior year, 44. Yeah. So they followed up with this film, Hangover Square.
Yeah. Was Linda Darnell in Lodger too? I thought that was another actress. I couldn't remember.
Am I wrong? Was it not? No, you're right. It wasn't Linda Darnell, but it was George Sanders.
Yes, I knew George Sanders was in that one too, but I thought it was a different actress playing. I think it's Kitty in that one. It is,
and you're right. I think it's Merle Oberon.
Yes, you're right. Yep, it's Merle Oberon. I couldn't remember who.
Oberon. So these are old. This is an old movie for those, and old doesn't mean like the 1980s. This is the 1940s.
Yeah, I have some. Yeah, no, this is 80 years ago exactly now.
Which is really, really strange for me. Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, these reviews are not spoiler free. We're gonna talk about whatever we want with this movie. So
because it's 80 years old.
Yeah. So if you have any interest, if you go read the synopsis of this movie real quick and you're interested, go watch it and then come back. Otherwise, yeah. But then again, I don't know how much you care about us spoiling an 80-year-old movie. So.
Now that being said, some people think because it's old, it's gonna be bad.
No.
We both really enjoyed this film. I've seen this film several times. I know you've seen it now a couple of times.
I've now seen it twice.
Why would a modern viewer want to watch this?
For me, what I really like about it is I think if you do watch movies, it's a lot better. And I will give people my age a lot of credit. A lot of people my age watch older movies now. But I think people who are not invested in film would think like, oh yeah, old movies are also wholesome and nice. In this movie, this is not a wholesome and nice movie.
So yeah, maybe before we say why you would or would not want to watch it, we should give a brief synopsis.
Yes, I agree.
Brief synopsis.
So this movie is about a composer living in London in the early 1900s. I think it's 1902 or 1903. It's based on a book. I don't know if the book is also called Hangover Square. It might be. I haven't read it myself. I don't know if you have either.
No.
But it is about a composer named George Bone who is prone to fits of, I guess, amnesia and psychosis where he
goes into some sort of homicidal rage.
Yes, he goes into a trance where he literally cannot remember anything. And in those days, yes, he is homicidal. The story is pretty much, he's the killer. It's just a matter of who is he going to kill
there's
next
no suspense.
And what are they going to do. Yeah.
You know right from the beginning he's the killer.
Yes. I wouldn't say no suspense, but I would say in a sense of there's no mystery.
It's not a mystery.
It's not a mystery.
It's very much in the Gaslight. When I say Gaslight, it's of the same era. In this case, it's Edwardian London. But if you like the gaslit streets and the fog and, that sort of Hollywood London, oi governor, penny for
they
the
do
baby.
say that.
And
shilling.
Throw us a shilling, governor, and they tip their hat, and it's always foggy. And
what's all this then? Yeah.
Yeah. What's all this then? There's always the carriages rattling down the street.
So it's that kind of aesthetic.
If you like that, you'll just that alone you'll like.
It's
this.
very, yes, and it is very dark. It's a thriller, but I would say it's also very much a horror movie because it is very dark what eventually happens. I just think I forgot to put in the synopsis is, yes, he has these fits where and again, it's from the get-go revealed, he kills somebody at the very beginning, just a random guy to show, oh, he's killing people. But then eventually he gets involved with I guess a songstress, an entertainer lady. I don't know what you call her.
That's rather ambitious Linda Darnell.
Linda Darnell, and she's playing
dance hall girl.
Yeah.
Very much uses men to advance her own ambitions.
Yes. So she winds up using George, and it all kind of falls apart from there. And it's actually very tragic too.
It is
very sad.
So you know from the get-go that George Bone, played by Craigar, he's got this problem, and it's really just watching it work out.
Yes.
What's going to happen?
So I'd say if that sounds interesting to you, I would recommend it because it's a good sort of thriller of like, oh gosh, what's going to happen.
Yeah, so you called it a horror movie. I mean, it is sometimes lumped in with horror movie. This box set I have it in is Fox Horror Classics, and it's in there with The Lodger.
I'd say it's
psychological horror.
Yes, it is psychological. I forgot to mention.
There's no
so if you like
monsters or
psychological thriller and horror, I'd say it's good. It's not as much of a horror as The Lodger probably, but it's still pretty spooky and haunting. I'd say it's very haunting.
Well, and it has then. So yeah, that's the basic summary of the film. I went out of order. It's my fault because I asked you why you'd want to watch this, but what I can think of at least a couple of things, and I think we both agree, that are really memorable scenes in this that I think even a modern viewer, if you say, I don't care about Gaslight or whatever, I don't care about the foggy streets of London in the late 19th century or whatever, or murder mysteries, but what are the things that do jump out? I know there's a couple for me, and you're probably going to say the same thing. So go ahead.
I'd say the most memorable scenes are those two scenes, the actors. I think the cast is great in this movie, and gosh, the cinematography really shines, and the score. The score is also excellent.
The music, yes,
because it is
great.
Since he is a composer, that really stands out. Obviously, you'd want. If this movie is about a composer protagonist, you'd want it to have a good score, and it does. It interlinks with the story. But yeah, the two big scenes, I know the ones you're thinking of, are the Guy Fawkes, the bonfire scene, and then the ending itself, which that ending is that's probably my second favorite ending in a movie, period.
It's pretty dramatic. It's incredibly dramatic, and the conceit of using... or the device of using the score as actually part of the drama on that's being displayed. It's not just incidental music that's dramatic. Because I think for the audience, again, we're giving spoilers here, but as literally the end is coming down on George Bone, he has written this concerto, which is this very haunting piece of music. And literally like the hall or the home they're playing this music in is literally burning down around him as he's playing it. And so it's incredibly over-the-top dramatic.
Yes.
Yeah, he's playing this piece of very dark music.
Yeah, as he is, as the smoke, I didn't pick on it the first time, but the smoke at the
covers
very end
him,
envelops him. And so it's, what a great, it's very visually powerful too, auditorially and visually.
And the other one you mentioned, the Guy Fawkes bonfire. So again, this is Hollywood, England. But in Hollywood, England, a device for him, again, spoilers, he's getting rid of a body. He has murdered someone. And to get rid of the body, he carries the body to a Guy Fawkes bonfire. And what does he do? I mean, it's very dramatic. Again.
Yes, he takes, he kills Linda Darnell's character. Again, we're spoiling it, so we don't care. He takes her body, and again, for a Guy Fawkes Day, if you don't know what that is, it's where they make, what do you call them?
Effigies.
The effigies, thank you. They make the effigies of Guy Fawkes, and they stack them in a big pile, and they burn them, and so George puts a mask on her body and puts her right on top of the bonfire. And
at the very top,
at
it's
the
this
very
huge
top.
bonfire. I mean, they've got a ladder, literally.
It reminded me a lot, actually, and I'm sure they took inspiration from it, but in Candyman, when they have, like, the big bonfire they're building up at the end. I know you've only seen that once, but it reminded me a lot of that, how, they're building up this big bonfire, and that's, like, in the background. But it reminded me of that. But in the movie, in Hangover Square, he puts her body right on top, and then, they burn it. And she's already dead. It's not like she's being burned alive, but...
He's disposing of the body that way.
Yes, it's very dramatic. And then, he kind of steps away, and he has this sort of look of horror on his face where...
And they're all dancing in the ring around
kind of like...
It's that actually reminded me a little bit, just because it's a big fire, was also Wicker Man.
I was about to say, that reminds me of the end of Wicker Man, where they're all dancing around it, and he's burning inside. That one is also, very dark and dramatic.
Which maybe we'll do Wicker Man. We've got to do the Lodger at some point, too. We've got to talk about the Lodger.
Yeah, that seems great. The ending where you got the whole orchestra, and they're all playing, and he's looking very tense, because at that point in the movie, at the end, the police are closing in on him. He's actually has locked George Sanders, who plays the psychiatrist that works for Scotland Yard. He locks him in his apartment so he can go play his concerto, because by that point George Sanders has figured it out that he's the killer, and George knows it. George Bone knows it too, so he runs off. So he's
George Sanders.
Yeah, so he is obviously very tense, and he remembers everything he's done. He remembers it at the concert, and that's part of it too. Is as the score is playing, he's flashing back where he's finally remembered what he's done.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly comment on George Sanders, because it's interesting. He's very sinister in this until the very end. Yeah. Which is interesting. Like, frequently, and at this time, he would have been more often, like, not always, but he's a lead, but he's still... George Sanders shows up, and you're like, I don't trust this guy.
Oh, yeah, because he's
very
been
sinister.
In Rebecca at that point, too, where he plays a real slime ball. Yeah.
And he doesn't seem terribly sympathetic to George Bone. He's more interested in his girlfriend. Remember?
Yeah, they do build that up. I had forgotten about that from my first viewing.
Like, he's more interested in seducing the girlfriend of George Bone than he is in, it seems like, helping him until the end, where then it's like, oh, don't worry, it's not your fault. I'm sure you'll just get put away. We won't hang you. That kind of thing.
Yeah. And you could say that he's trying to be careful, too, because he knows if he's like, well, you're under arrest, because that's what happens at the very end, is he finally flies into rage. The cops come to arrest him at the concerto, and
they escalate.
Yeah.
But of course they have to do that for the plot.
Yeah, they have to make it dramatic.
I get it, because if they didn't escalate, it would just be like, he wants to, like, I just want to play my concerto. I've been building up to this. No, you have to come with me. Like, just let him play his concerto and arrest him afterwards.
Right.
But there'd be no plot. You couldn't have this dramatic device if they don't resist. Like, no, we have to arrest you right now. Like, what's the difference if you let him just play his music? But they won't. So you have to have this big dramatic, fiery showdown. But that gives you the
it
drama.
Does make sense though, because
it makes no sense, because you'd be like, this guy's he's triggered by various events and goes into a psychotic rage. You know what I'll do?
I'll send him in
a psychotic rage. Let's just calm him down.
Yeah,
no. But you wouldn't have a story without it.
Exactly. But I mean, I could still see that. All right.
The other thing the last thing I want to add about this that I liked, I do like the close-ups you get of, I said the other day, like, this is so sometimes viewed as like, oh, that's a modern thing or whatever, like, or this gets invented in the 60s. You get these extreme close-ups of his sweaty, bulging-eyed face as he's starting to go into one of his mental breaks.
Yeah.
That I think is very good. I mean, it's very arresting. You're like, wow, that's really, you just catches you. You get this guy's face like right close up, and these eyes are popping out of his head, and you're like, oh, he's going insane.
And the cinematography too, just to highlight that, from going off of what you were saying, is it's excellent. It's got that shadowy, almost like film noir kind of look to it, which goes with the gaslight setting, which other movies doing that. The black and white just looks great.
The black and white.
It does look good.
There's some. Yeah, this probably wouldn't have the same. I'm sure it wouldn't have the same impact if it was in color.
Yeah, it would need to do something very different if it was going to be in color to make it so visually stark. Especially the ending where it's panning over, the cellos and all the string instruments as they're playing, and then it pans over to Laird Craigar as he's on the piano, and yeah, it just the ending in particular looks amazing and sounds amazing. Let's see. Okay, do we want to talk about Laird Craigar?
Sure.
Let's talk about
Quickly.
Laird
You
Craigar.
want to say anything about Laird Craigar?
Yeah. The highlight of this movie, again, the cast is great. Linda Darnell is great. Again, though, you don't really get much of an accent with her since she's
Thank God she doesn't try and pretend that she's British.
Yeah, I agree. And again, you could pass it off, I think, as like, oh, maybe she's an American
over
who's
in
trying
the
to
UK.
make it big in London. Okay, you could believe that. But yeah, that's a consequence you get of these American productions being set in
old
London.
Hollywood. Yeah, well, you said everybody. Sure, governor, I'm English, and they do these corny accents. It's like, oh, for God's sake, just drop the accent.
Right. And again, I think ones like you get with, like, Craigar can get away with it because he sounds refined. So I guess to me, American, like, oh, sure, you're British. I believe it. But
you have a few Brits. I mean, you said Sanders is English. Alan Napier
was
is
Napier
British.
English? Okay, I was wondering. I didn't know.
A few of those supporting some of the policemen were really English.
Mm-hmm.
The character actors.
Yeah.
But yeah, Linda Darnell's an American. Craigar's an American.
Yeah.
The love interest of Darnell was clearly an American.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that actor's name, but another support contract player in the studios. But it just comes with the territory when you're dealing with old studio productions. They used what they had. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you're on contract, guess what? Now you're playing an Englishman. And if he wasn't an Englishman, it was too bad. They would pretend to be an Englishman. Okay, fine. And that's just how it worked.
Yeah. So like I said too, the cast is great. Yeah, I like Darnell a lot. She's good. Sanders is great, even though his role is a lot smaller than I remembered in this one. He has a bigger role in The Lodger. But Craigar is 100%
It's Craigar's
the highlight
movie.
here.
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
his movie.
It's the last movie ever made, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess some background on him. He had done, I guess, a lot of, I don't know what you call it, character acting. He usually played a lot of
villains. He's mostly known for villains.
Yeah, since he was like he's
He's
tall
a large
and he
man.
was a heavy set guy. So in this one, I think you get a really good dynamic because you get you get that villainous side when he goes into psychotic moments and anger, but then you also get some of that sympathy where he plays, I guess, I don't know what you call it, like a much softer man, where you can see he's actually
he's supposed to be a musician.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's
He's an
very
artist.
Sort of,
he's a tortured artist. Literally.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy. He's just like beset by this, and he gets a little too involved with Linda Darnell. She puts the feminine wiles on him and all that. But he does a good job. I think you feel very bad for him. It's not just like, oh, I can't wait for this guy to be put away. You almost want him, I think, to get better, but it's not going to happen.
Unlike, say, The Lodger, which was a year earlier, which is probably his best role.
He's excellent in that.
Like in The Lodger, again, spoiler, we're going to give it away. That's basically Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
And that is also based off of a novel where basically the lodger is this mysterious guy that lives in this house, but it's strongly suspected he's Jack the Ripper. Which, not to spend too much time on that, but Craigar is excellent in that as well.
He's very threatening. He's very intimidating.
But he's bad. Like that one, he's a creepy bad guy.
Yes. Same thing with I Wake Up Screaming. He plays the baddie in that one where he's chasing after Victor Mature. And he's excellent in that. He's also very, very threatening. And I remember watching that movie. I think that's the first movie I really remember seeing him as an actor.
Is actually, in many ways, maybe even a more twisted and sad movie. His character. That might be, I suppose, like you say, how could he be more twisted than Jack the Ripper? But that character is very sad.
Yeah.
Also, and messed up.
He's really creepy. I honestly think he's creepier than that one, than even the Lodger. Yeah, just because... I just remember being so unnerved by his character in that one.
Again, these are old movies with people act like, they're all sunshine and roses and quote wholesome. like they're dealing with very dark themes. They just had to hide it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or they had to, I say hide, camouflage it. They couldn't be as overt.
They had to be creative.
They had to be creative, but I mean, they're very like I said, that movie, for instance, is very. I'm talking about. I Wake Up Screaming.
I Wake Up Screaming. We'll have to talk about that one.
We will. It's like you talk about psychosexual creepiness. Like that is definitely a weird. I mean, he's literally got a shrine to her and all that.
Yes.
It's
so
very disturbing. Like this,
Yeah.
anybody modern would be like, wait, they had this in that case 84 years ago. They had stories about creepers with shrines to women following.
Oh,
them
yeah.
around.
It's nothing new.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely think it's worth it for Laird Craigar's performance, and several of his other films are worth watching.
Yes,
for that.
just
it's
for him.
unfortunate he said he died from literally right after, within 2 months of this movie being released.
Yeah, so what happened there, again, from our Wikipedia reading, he, like we said, he always been very heavy. Like, he was a big guy. And
He was over 300 pounds.
yeah, which again, for 1940s is crazy. But he wanted to lose the weight so he could be a leading man, and he lost 100 pounds or something like that in like, oh gosh, not even a few months, I think. So
He was on amphetamines, and the strain on his body basically killed him.
yeah, so they finished Hangover Square, and then he died not long after. So it's very sad because he was very, very talented. Again, I think I like actors where they can do that dynamic. If they can play baddies and creeps, but then they can also be very, I guess, sort of sympathetic. And he also there was something I watched recently, was Rings on Her Fingers, where he has a very minor role in it, where he's playing this con artist. And again, and that one is very different because he's very I guess sort of happy-go-lucky in that, where he's sort of reveling in his mischief. Yeah, he's reveling in that mischief. You can tell he's having a lot of fun in this role, which is very different. That almost made his parts where they're supposed to be comedic funnier, because I was not expecting him to act that way. That one, I don't know if I'd recommend people to watch, though, because most of that movie is about Gene Tierney and Henry Fonda being, I guess, goofballs, So if you're into that, you can watch for that. But yeah, it was just interesting because I had never seen him like that. And I don't know if he ever did another role like that.
Yeah, I'd have to look at his filmography. I mean, he's in This Gun for Hire.
I want to see that one. I still haven't seen that one.
He's a villain. I want to say, like, in one, confusing with someone else, like he plays like not quite the devil, but like
Heaven. What is it? Heaven Can Wait.
Is it Heaven? Is he in Heaven Can
He's
Wait?
in
All right,
Heaven
so
Can
I'm
Wait.
right.
I've
It
never
is him.
seen it.
I want to say it's a Don Amici dies, and this guy's like the not quite the secretary or something of the afterlife, or he's like, you got to interview with him or something like that.
I think it is him in that. I've never seen it, but
I've seen it once. It was a long time ago, but anyway, he was a good actor. I liked him. Certainly an interesting character.
yes.
The only other guy off the top of my head I can think of, it kind of reminds me of, was Victor Buono. Was another guy that kind of probably the only thing most people know Victor Buono from. He was in that when we watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Oh, gotcha.
He was actually nominated for an Oscar.
Oh yeah, isn't he? What
plays
is it?
King-
Ramsey, King Tut
in
the
the
Batman.
Batman.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably what he's most well known
You're right.
for.
They are sort of similar. Yeah.
That's the only other guy I can think of off the top of my head that kind of reminds me of Craig.
Yeah, heavier set,
Big,
but he's
heavy
sort of
set
like
guy.
Yeah, it can be sort of like creepy, but sometimes can be, I
Can
guess,
be
elegant
charming
in a way.
and, yeah, elegant.
Charming, sort of suave.
Yeah, they could both sort of pull that off.
Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah.
je ne sais quoi there that I can't quite put my finger on, but
Yeah.
they've just got a way about them.
Yeah.
Not just their size, but they're sort of like
Yeah,
a gentlemanly. They can be gentlemen.
Gentlemanly creeps.
Yeah, gentlemanly creeps. Yes, that's a good way to put it. Gentleman
I like.
creeps.
Yeah, we both like. We say we like our creep actors, and he's a good. Laird Craigar was a great creep.
Yeah. I guess we would both give this thumbs up.
Yes, I personally now I'd give it like a 4.5. I liked it even more on my second viewing out of 5.
Okay.
4.5 out of 5 stars for me. I don't know, what about you?
I give it 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So average out to like a 4.25. So yeah, that's highly recommended from both of us.
Yeah. So if you like thriller films, actually I won't call it a mystery, but yeah, suspense horror, psychological horror. watch this.
So yeah, if that movie sounds interesting, definitely check it out. All right, so I guess that's all for us today. We will try to do another episode sometime soon. If you're coming from my main channel, please subscribe and join us. If you have not seen my main channel is I Made It Up. I do little reviews and videos, I guess video essays, I don't know what you want to call them, about different topics I enjoy. So if that sounds interesting, check out my channel. It'll be linked below or wherever. And we'll see you next time.
I'm the old man.
I'm the girl.
Bye.
Bye-bye.